This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. We are moving on to another gate, Gate 8. We'll be discussing here in just a moment, but before we get into it, take a second and tell you all about what's going on, specifically something today. Today at 3 p.m. Pacific, myself and Ageless Ashley are going to be hosting a free Golden Synthesis webinar inside of the Golden Experience Guide. This is about or working with my course, Your Energetic Marketing Guide. We used to do these Instagram lives, aesthetically align the two of us, and then sometimes we'd pull in other people, and it was so fun because, of course, I'm bringing the human design side of things. She's got, like aesthetic business insight, and we would just come together and discuss all kinds of stuff. So we're going to be doing that free for anybody to come this afternoon. Come and join us. Basically, we're going to get into like a whole chart synthesis. And the really cool thing is, like, of course, estheticians, everyone can come, but for those who have actually purchased the course, they will be entered to win, and receive a synthesis just like this next time. So really kind of get your chart dissected and get advice given based on that, of all the cool things that we're seeing in your chart. So super fun. Come join us. I'm excited to be doing this type of stuff again because I love getting to interact with people. And for the benefit of like more than just one person at a time. So I think it's going to be super cool. So hop on that, join us. All the links, of course, show notes in bio over on Instagram at Michaela McLean. And then one really good point, I did have somebody say I was on the last Golden Experience webinar for my course. And they were like, I love this. I'm so into it, but financially, I'm not at a place where I can invest in the course. Would your $11 class be the place to start? Absolutely. The first place I tell anybody to start is like, get your chart, go to geneticmatrix.com, input all of your info. You want to make sure you've got your time of birth is super important, people. Check your birth certificate, check your baby book. Like, you can order a long form birth certificate if you can't find it. They're like $20 or something. Get that, get your chart, get my free guide. That link again in the bio. So you have at least a little bit of a clue. And each one, if you know what your correct type is, it has a hyperlink within that to take you to the correct $11 class. So I'm like, yeah, start there. Those classes are 1 hour. They cover all the basics: type, strategy, authority, all the authorities possible for your aura type, not self, signature, deconditioning tips. It's like super, there's so much there. And I made those classes that inexpensive so that they were accessible to everybody. So start there. Um, and then that's a great place. And you can still come to these free webinars and learn, and still glean information. So I just encourage you, like, get started somewhere. And I think sometimes it's just in the being there and the seeing it, understanding a little bit more piece by piece, and realizing the value that it all contains too. So do that. um yeah, and of course, I have like my yoga nidras, all the different things. Like I said, you can find all the stuff. There's so much more coming, in the very near future. So this is, to me, like, this is ground floor stuff. And all those $11 classes are inside of the Golden Experience Guide too, just FYI. So if you're like, nope, I'm totally in it, I want to jump in the deep end, I'm like, then just get the course. You're gonna get hours and hours and hours of content and info. Another cool thing is, like, there is the excuse me, what am I talking about? The podcast guide. So you'll get episode gate guide, keywords, worksheets, lots of cool stuff, a meditation, a yoga nidra, like so many cool things that you can actually then take into your treatment room and use as well, within the course. There's just like endless stuff, and the more of these, like, webinars that we do, they will be added to the course so that you can watch and everybody can gain the benefit from that. So, many reasons to get in there and invest in the course, but, we'll see when we see you, when you're ready, okay? Alright, let's get on to gate 8. As always, I like to put the disclaimer out. Don't try to understand this at the mental level. Let my sound current, the energy, the frequency of beauty just sink into your cells like good skincare. You will understand this stuff when it's time. Just relax, let the nervous system chill, and, just open your ears. Okay, so we are moving into gate 8. We're still in Taurus. We're approaching the end of Taurus season. Gate 8 is located in the throat center. It's part of the individual knowing circuitry. So people with individual circuitry have a deep inner knowing that they are here to be true to themselves. This leads to mutation, evolution, and positive change in the world. And the throat center itself is the energy center for communication, self expression, and manifestation. All energy in the chart is trying to make it to the throat to have something done about it, to have it actually get out into the world, to alchemize, to interact with the world, to turn into something. So, gate 8 is known as holding together, the gate of contribution, the basic worth realized in contributing individual efforts to group goals. This is the gate that gives voice to the inner knowing of the higher self. So, the keynote here is I can make a contribution or not, unique self expression. So the low expression here could show up as basically being afraid to stand out, afraid to be different. This is individual. Um, it's somebody who's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go along with the status quo. I'm going to be mediocre. I'm going to suppress myself to fit in. I'm going to be bland, just very vanilla. Like I don't want to stand out. I don't want to draw attention. I don't want people to think I'm different. It could also show up as like putting on a facade or a show, versus being authentically yourself. Again, individual energy carries with it melancholy and, an outsider vibe that basically, if you have this, you can't be a slave to it. You have to be okay with expressing yourself. The high expression, basically it's like this is the mouthpiece, the agent, the concert promoter, the marketer. A gate 8 person can recognize and promote others. It basically can draw in the attention of other people with their excitement. And honestly, to me, this is like the influencer. It's not doing it on purpose. It's just this person who knows what's cool to them. And then others are in turn inspired by it. Being a true influencer is not somebody swaying you to buy junk, to try to imitate them. What they're really doing is empowering you to be yourself. If a gate 8 person is really in their flow, that's the energy that they're putting off. And honestly, like that's what we're actually really attracted to is the vibe and the energy of this person being totally okay with themselves, totally comfortable, doing things their own way that is their true style. And in the Gene Keys, right? I mean, that's it's the gift. It's the gift of style. And I'm like, think about that. Oh, I like their style. It's like you're attracted to their energy. I say it in my course, like the provider is the product. It's like it's not what you're doing, that I'm going to try to imitate. Well, she got a hydrofacial, so I have to have a hydrofacial. It's like, no, you're attracted to what that person is. That's that's the piece. It's girl, it ain't the hydrofacial that's making her successful. you know in true style, right? If you're imitating somebody's style, it's like true style has no attachment to a label, but rather surrenders to constant evolution and communicates that to the wider world, being seen for the influence that you uniquely have. Gate 8 definitely dares to be different and special. And gate 8 is actually the place, where creativity is brought into physical reality. When things come up to the throat and then get expressed out into the world, that's where they actually alchemize and it turns into something real. It's interacting with the outside. So in the Gene Keys, the shadow of this one is mediocrity. The gift is style. And by the way, the dilemma here is imitation. And the city is exquisiteness. So in the Gene Keys, Richard Rudd says, somebody with gate 8, Gene Key 8, you have to take an exciting leap of faith in yourself. This eighth gift catches people's attention because it brings something fresh into the world. The gift of style has little to do with our popular interpretation of this word. It has more to do with following your own unique rebellious spirit out into the world. True style cannot be measured by materialistic trappings, nor can it be faked. It is the natural flowering of your individuality. To find your own style is to be yourself without concern about what others may think. Since it bypasses the mind, style cannot be imitated or preconceived, always emerging spontaneously and naturally. It also involves traveling along paths that involve risk, but only as society defines risk. True style takes great joy in shattering the gray world of mediocrity that is considered the norm. This gift does not sit happily within society, although the pure joy and freedom of expressing your true nature far outweighs any repercussions that may come with the territory. Individual uniqueness is something that our modern societies uphold and idolize, but in reality, we are afraid to have too many colorful individuals. Style is more than skin deep, it is the cutting edge of creation itself. Individuals manifesting this gift have surrendered themselves to a creative process that controls them rather than them controlling it. Creativity can be a thankless business. Oftentimes, an individual is so ahead of his or her time that their uniqueness is not appreciated until after their death. However, the sense of expansive freedom that comes from letting go into such a process is so fulfilling that success or failure is no longer a major driving force or consideration in their lives. Style is dangerous to society in its logical, structured, system based thinking and infrastructure. It is dangerous because it mimics nature, which so many systems try to control and explain. Like nature, style is given shape by a wild, organic, and unpredictable energy. It is full of genius and quantum leaps. For the individual, the eighth gift brings a deeply fulfilling sense of purpose. But so often, these individuals find themselves unable to interface their gift with the world. Style, in and of itself, does not make one an outsider. In fact, it makes one an insider to the secret processes of life. But to the powers that try to maintain control of the world, style is considered dangerous or at best eccentric or quirky. This is why individual uniqueness is usually confined to those realms like art, fashion, or music, where it is acceptable and where there is some space for it to breathe. In most other spheres of society, individual style is generally suppressed because it is neither trusted nor understood. Fortunately, free thinkers who find their own sense of style are not really concerned with fitting in. Their only concern is to free more free thinkers. Such freedom is truly contagious. Thus, such people inherit a powerful mission in the world, even though they may not see it that way. Finally, this eighth gift is about actually manifesting individual dreams rather than simply dreaming them. When the eighth gift is released inside your DNA, you suddenly begin to make things happen. And it may seem to you as though the rest of the world is simply stuck inside a dream world. This is the byproduct of operating at a higher frequency. Now anything becomes possible for you because in yielding to your inner spirit, the sheer force of creativity that comes through frees up channels and opportunities that were previously blocked. So I find that in piece interesting, where it's about the true manifestation. And again, it's a throat gate, right? And really bringing that up and out into the world, like not just sitting there with it, but like letting it out, unleashing it onto the world. Okay, so notes here. This is part of a self-projected channel. So projector rules apply. So again, I'm like, the self-projected means I need to speak it. I need to actually communicate this out into the world. Get it expressed. Um, but again, projector, right? So it's about being seen, recognized, and invited. Invited. I can't talk. Basically, you do you. Keep going. Don't worry if they see you or not. At the right time, the right people will catch on, and that is infectious. Um, and I always think with this one too, it's kind of like there's such a difference when you're doing you and you're truly excited and lit up by something versus someone who's like just trying to push something on you. And I mean, for those of us, especially if you have like reps in the medical field, where it's like the rep comes in and it's like, or even, just skincare products, and they're trying to push something on you versus, the friend that really knows what's amazing. Like they're always just out in front, kind of doing the thing, researching. One of those people you want to hear from, and the other one, not so much. um, this is also considered a leadership gate or part of a leadership channel, like the channel of the alpha, the channel of the prodigal. Um, but between those three channels, this one is really about doing it your own way. No agenda. It just does a thing and therefore inspires others, just unfolds naturally. Um, what's really interesting, so I wanted to give a few like real life examples. This is my son, my manifestor son, his sun gate. He is a sun in gate 8. And it's funny, like his chart here, he's a manifestor, he's all tribal channels. He's a 4-6, so about his people, but his sun, the way he really shines is in a very individual manner. And it's so interesting to observe it that way. This is where the intricacies of the chart gets so interesting. He's so inclusive and so willing to promote his people and big up people and, get excited for them. I really see all this stuff coming through in that way. He's little, about to have a birthday. But he's always expressing, he's always making sounds constantly, always telling stories, and then dancing. He's always expressing himself in one way or another. So it's so sweet to see it like in that very, you know, pure childlike way. But then, another person who it's very significant in my life, who it's also their sun gate is Alexis, the founder, creator of Little Fox. She is somebody who has this full channel and it's always this constant creation, going against the grain, doing something that is absolutely different from what everybody else is doing. Again, I see the inclusivity with her, about empowering her team, like the people around her, to be incredibly creative and flex their artistic muscles. It's like it is a creative environment. Um, the brand has a creative director, for God's sakes, like Natalia, Pisces, Sun, she's a manifestor, Sun in 22, and just see that everywhere. It's like these beautiful photo shoots, um, with Vogue photographers, just things that are like, this is a skincare brand, this is a fashion magazine, like this is art. And I know Alexis like has done things for like Art Basel and just truly again being immersed in like the art world. Um, and even for me, like the creative freedom, I've already talked about how it's like, oh, she's like medicine for me, but the creative freedom for somebody like myself who I'm like Leo Moon, Leo North Node creativity is in me, and be able to like run with that, making cool things for the brand, like the yoga nidras, other content, different things I'm doing behind the scenes, projects I can't even mention, but believe me when I say like no other skincare company is doing the stuff that Little Fox is doing. It's just like so, so cool. And again, there's the individual thing, right? Doing it, being different, not being afraid to stand out, not really caring if people, are into it or not, because at some point it will catch the right people's attention, you know. Um, and then I was laughing as well because I was like, okay, there's a couple public figures in mind. One I knew for sure, like Grace Jones, her son is in Gate 8. I'm like, of course, right? Um, love some Grace Jones. And then I was like, God, who else? Who is somebody I would suspect maybe has Gate 8? I know this person is a Leo, but I'm like, I gotta go look at their chart and see. It's Madonna, right? Her unconscious sun is in gate 8, her design, the red one. And I was like, "Wow." Again, myself being a child of the '80s, I'm like and it's kind of funny because just the other day, for totally unrelated reason, Madonna had come up, um, in some content creation, and Alexis and I were talking about that, and I was like, "She was my she was my shit as a child." Like, I was obsessed, and I'm like, "What were people obsessed with it?" She was that was back in the day. She's wearing jazz shoes and, like, leggings, and, this isn't about designer labels, right? This is not attachment to a label. This is the constant creation and evolution of the self and of the image and, all of that. Um, so it's just so interesting, and again, being a child of the '80s, it's like, well, who wasn't imitating her? Like, girl, I had my bracelets, my leggings, my Madonna boots, Like a Virgin would come on, and I'm like, hang on, I gotta go get dressed," you know? I gotta go dress up. Um, and and it's so funny that and anyway, that this thought was what popped in my head, which made me be like, "I need to go look at her chart." Um, but all that imitation, if you grew up in that era, it's like, I mean, that's what people did, it's like imitate her, which then, of course, in turn made me think of the Oscar Wilde quote, "The imitation is the sincerest form of flattery." Well, that's not the whole quote. And I love this because I know the whole quote, and I was like, "This is perfect for what Richard Rudd said, about the mediocrity being the shadow." It's like what Oscar Wilde actually said was, "Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness." Sick burn, bro. Like, he had some sick burns. All right. So moving on to the programming partner. So the sun is in gate 8. That means the earth is automatically opposite in Scorpio gate 14, which is too cute because these are my husband and my son. My son is a sun in 8, earth in 14. My husband's a sun in 14, earth in 8. They're opposites. Okay, so gate 14 is known as possession in great measure, the gate of power skills, and it releases energy, money, resources, what have you, to empower direction in life. And with this one, basically it's so important to be following your strategy and authority. Again, it's individual. It's like this is about your own secret special sauce. That when you lean into those particular power skills, it just makes life unfold, makes doors open for you. So very important again, like leaning into the natural, the very special, the more unique, off the wall, don't really care that I fit in type of gifts, because they're going to automatically generate wealth, abundance, power, that you need to make a positive, mutative impact on the world around you. I'm always like, this one is just generate and create, you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And 14 is one of the abundance gates in human design. It's often referred to as a natural inheritance, and it can be easy for these people to make money when they are living their strategy and authority and doing the correct work for themselves. And then the gate that completes the channel with gate 8 is actually another Scorpio gate, gate 1, forming the channel of inspiration. So gate 1 is known as the creative, it's the gate of self-expression, and this is our place in the now and the capacity for creativity. And this is creation as a primal force, the energy potential to manifest inspiration without limitation. So gate 1 truly is an artist, about having that courage and freedom to be a bold individual. Um, this is, again, being unafraid to stand out, being your authentic creative self is deeply inspiring to others. Whatever fresh, new stuff that you wanna bring into the world, it's like, that's what you're meant to do. Come bring it out, share it, when you are living by example, you are giving other people the permission to be their unique self, right? So again, it's not really aware, there's not an agenda of like, I'm gonna do this to intentionally get people to wanna, join in. It's like, no, I do it and I have a ripple effect on the world. Again, individual circuitry is mutative. So again, kind of thinking about like, Madonna with the boots and the leggings and the lace and all that stuff. It was like, whoa, it's like individuals meant just boom, meant to mutate, meant to cause those ripple effects. Um, and again, individuals like marching to the beat of your own drummer, not worried about what everybody else is doing, and other people will come and pick up on that when they're meant to. So gate 1 is the G center, connecting to 8 in the throat center for the expression of the soul, of personality, of the style. These 2 come together and make that channel of inspiration. And it's the creative role model. It's about creative self-expression and self-promotion. So gate 1, that side is the artist. Gate 8 would be the art dealer. That's how it's always referred to. So 1 creates and then 8 contributes by drawing everybody's attention to what they deem exciting and fresh. Again, deeply, deeply individual energy with the amazing potential of mutation and influence, and always about leading by example. They have to do their thing, and they're here to be recognized for being different, for being unique, for being, separate from everybody else. If you have gate 1 alone, those people may not, they're more the creator, they're less of the promoter themselves, whereas 8 is like, I'm over here ready to shout you out, to bring attention to your creative work, and promote it like crazy. So astrologically, this channel would be a Taurus Scorpio opposition. Again, very cool because these are two fixed signs who are so themselves. Their fixed signs are not changing for other people. Taurus being the side that's like super rooted and grounded and about the material, literally, how this was like dreams materializing. And Scorpio, there's the more etheric, the intuitive, side of things. It's Scorpio's constantly reinventing and alchemizing and, shifting things around and recycling. So it's really beautiful. It's like that, I was just think kind of again, going back to like the Madonna analogy of like that constant reinvention and evolution and creative self-expression there. Um, so the quarter of the wheel that this is happening in, second quarter of civilization, purpose fulfilled through form. It's taking spirit, right? There's the Scorpio side and bringing it into form. There's the Taurus side. Okay, so do you have this gate in your chart? We're looking at the we're looking at the throat. We're looking at the bottom middle of the throat. That's where gate 8 is located. Do you have it in your chart? So it's either going to be black or red and black. That means you have it defined. You've got that somewhere. Something is located there in your chart. If it's white, mine's white, you don't have it, but you will be experiencing it through the transits, through other people, right? You'll observe it in those ways. Maybe you have gate 1 for the week. You're going to have access to the full channel, and maybe you're super creative. And right now, this week is going to be highly productive for you to be able to really like promote yourself, express yourself verbally, in ways that maybe don't always come naturally to you. So lots to think about and look at there. So fun. But I'm always interested. So hit me up on Instagram and let me know. And of course, I will be back soon with more. If this episode was valuable to you, I would love it. I would love it if you would leave it a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts because it helps so much, right? Gate 8, contribute, promote, do the thing. Perfect time. And Mercury's out of retrograde now. So I'm like, yes, please leave your contribution. I would be so happy. Of course, if you want to learn more human design, you can get the free guide. You can check out the $11 classes. You can come join Golden Experience Guide, all kinds of stuff always happening, and many things are brewing behind the scenes that are going to be coming soon too. And I can't stress enough, this all being the foundation of a lot of things that are coming in the somewhat near future. So I really suggest getting in on the ground floor. Okay. And one-on-ones are still waitlist, so you can shoot me an email if you want to be on the wait list when some time slots open up. You can follow me over on Instagram at Michaela McLean, and you can get my, anyway, all the things. The links are in the show notes and the links in bio. Of course, until next time, have a beautiful day.